go live button. And Miss Linda, I want to make sure that we are actually on speaker view, honey bunny.
We are on speaker view. I would love if you had it the other way.
There we are.
Have it.
That's weird. It just transformed. Okay, great. Oh gosh, maybe it may have just recorded and shown everything we just said.
Yes,
okay, that is okay. It's another Saturday. It's another Saturday here at Third Eye Salon where we have got our tech working for us finally. And yeah, I've got my Wookiee hat. I'm calling this my Wookiee hat. We are talking about Sasquatch today. We're gonna get some into some myth busting and get into some mind-blowing realities that we're gonna lay down. And let's quickly introduce our guests here. Well, first, of course, we've got our lovely dear friend of mine, psychic and conscious business coach, Linda Coulter-Burge. Hey, Linda, you're looking awesome.
Hey, everybody. How are you? I'm so excited that you're here.
And then we've got Barbara Jean. Thank you, Barbara Jean. She had some stuff going on this week, but she made it. She's showing up. God bless Barbara Jean. Thank you for being here, Barbara.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, my dear friend. happy.
Yeah, I love you all. And then we have got Reverend White Otter and Sue Walker and their love child. They've got a little Wookiee right with them in between, a little Sasquatch baby. Hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, and we're glad to be here. We've been looking forward to this all week.
Me too. And we're having a little lag issue with Sue and Otter, so we're just gonna, if everyone puts their positive intention that our tech angels or tech guides will help them clear their stream so we don't have any lag. Everyone put some positive energy into that. So before we dive in, and well, I'll give you like a little bit of background. If you don't know these lovely guests, I'll give you a little thumbnail sketch because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time going into bios today. But let's make sure that you know below in the description box, we have got links for both Sue and Otter and also for their first contact info for Sasquatch. I've got Barbara Jean's contact information down there. We ask you to always like, share, and subscribe. And if you're getting into the conversation, to please comment. We have the lovely Jillian, who is going to be our engagement gal, and she will be taking your chats and questions, and we'll be holding those till the end. But please hit up Jillian with any questions or any thoughts, ideas. And in our link below, we also have our Facebook group.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, and we're glad to be here. We've been looking forward to this.
And then we have also our if you want to buy Third Eye a coffee, you can buy us a coffee. There's a link down there for that. And anything else, Linda? I think I hit all the notes there.
I just want to thank everybody hanging out. I see a couple of messages that they're understanding we have tech issues, and that's amazing. You know, it wouldn't be a normal Saturday morning, I don't think, if we didn't have at least one little glitch, just to remind us that we're powerful beings that can overcome anything, including technology. So
nice.
What do you mean by normal?
And hey, Miss Linda, if you didn't already, if you don't mind putting the YouTube link in our Facebook group.
Okay.
I did not do that before I went live. So
absolutely.
Thank you, honey bunny. All right, so just to kind of give you a little thumbnail sketch on our delicious, lovely people. Barbara Jean is a psychic. She also, she's a psychic medium. She's just super gifted. She also had a near-death experience that we talked about in our last show, as well as Sekhmet in one of our previous show with Barbara. And she's just somebody who is cosmically attuned, cosmically aware, and she's got a huge, gorgeous heart. And because she's psychic, she's like, from her near-death experience, she really became an ambassador for Gaia and somebody who's an advocate for Gaia and the ascension process that we're going in. And so naturally, I think it makes sense that Sasquatch, aka Bigfoot, was somebody that came across her path, and she became connected to him because the Sasquatch tribe are protectors of the earth, and that is what Barbara's role also is in terms of her being ambassador for Gaia. And then we'll hop over into Sue and Otter. Otter is a psychic. He's a shaman. He's an experiencer, an ET experiencer. Sue, same psychic. She's an ET experiencer. She's a psychic medium. And we had them on our show for our Ponte party, and they are ambassadors for the Ponte Star Nation. And so the Ponte were kind of the ones that introduced Sue to the Sasquatch. Do I have that? Or Sue and Otter. Do I have that right, Sue?
Yes. Now, both Otter and I had experiences with Sasquatch in our individual growing up and earlier life before we met each other. But it wasn't until I met the Ponte where they introduced themselves to me, and we got an earful of knowledge from the Ponte about the Sasquatch, because the Sasquatch and the Ponte have been interstellar friends for thousands of years. They think alike. They're both right-minded nations. They both have a very similar sense of humor and teasing. And so what we have learned is when researchers go up in the high country and try and interact with the Sasquatch, it's not unusual for them to also find themselves interacting with the others, or seeing UFOs in the sky, or having unusual things happen. But yes, our introduction to a greater understanding of them came through the Ponte.
Okay, excellent. And then let's hop over to Barbara Jean for a moment. And I would like for you to clarify how, because I know you've only been connecting with them for the last couple of years or so, 2 or 3 years, but how did that introduction come about?
Well, I am. It's true. I do want to say real quick that I met Otter at Stargate to the Cosmos. And how I met you, Otter, is that you came up to me and you said, "There's a huge Sasquatch standing right behind you." And I didn't know anything about the Sasquatch at that time. And so I connected with them later. I wanted to find out about them. So I talked with Mike Harrell and then with Brian Bland, but I didn't really I had an experience with Brian, but also the biggest experience was when I was in my car and I'm riding in my car, and in the passenger seat is a large Sasquatch. And I'm looking, and you interdimensionally, you don't, they're not like 3D, but he's right there. He's huge and big smile on his face. And I'm looking at him. He's looking at me. I'm looking back, and I'm driving. And he telepathically says, "Turn on the radio." So I turn on the radio, and it's Michael. I forget his name from, I don't know, from whatever, but it's "I Am Your Father" figure. And he starts singing, that song starts playing, and I just start crying like a baby. Just all these tears of just release and let go. And that's how it started. So City Girl finds Sasquatch in my car, driving down the street, and
I took you by surprise.
it was such a surprise. And I've been working with it ever since. They keep kind of showing up. So that's how it started for me. So,
wow.
So it can happen with anybody. If it can happen with me driving down the street, if you really want it to happen, it can happen with anyone. You can have a relationship with them.
Well, and you just peeled back like a whole lot of content right there, because, like people's conception, I mean, there's so many different theories on who and what the Sasquatch Nation are. We call them the Sasquatch Nation to be respectful, and not just Bigfoot, which is sort of a nickname that they didn't choose for themselves. And so, like, as people are sussing out who the Sasquatch are they the missing link in our evolution? Like, there are all these stories that come up, and then all of a sudden someone says, "Oh, well, they're telepathic. Oh, well, they're interdimensional." And it's like, okay, wait. That we're trying to like make them these beasts. We have this idea about them being like these beasts that aren't quite evolved to our level yet. They're like subhuman versus, oh wait, they have abilities to move between dimensions and they're telepathic. Like that's the schism that we are going to be gently and thoroughly like weaving together, so that way those misconceptions are dispelled. And again, you have to have your own experience of it. Sue sent me some recordings of, I'll have to put this down below. They're not there right now, but I'll put some links below, of actual Sasquatch people, nations, like talking to each other and also interacting with humans who were like being cool, and they weren't seeing them, but they were hearing them, and they were having like physical things happen around them. But to hear them vocalize was so extraordinary, and it sort of ripped this veil open in terms of like, these beings don't fit into our preconceptions. Like, don't plaster your beliefs on top of them. Be open to having an experience of what they are from who they are, and not our own preconceptions.
Yep.
Yeah. So in that, we're going to keep sending Sue and Otter good energy so that their lag is resolved. I know that can happen. I wanted to get into, where do the Sasquatch Nation come from? I think that's a critical piece, because in terms of what they have connected with the two of you on, where did the Sasquatch actually come from? Did they originate on the planet? Did they originate maybe off planet? What is the truth about that you two have encountered? And Miss Sue, if you want to go first, and we'll just see if that'll maybe loosen your connection there, that'd be great.
Well, we'll see if the lag resolves at all. What we have come to understand is we call the Sasquatch one nation when there are varying other sub-nations or other nations that fall in that category, and they are not all at the same evolutionary level. And we also have a physiology difference in body type, because you have some Sasquatch that are round-headed like we are, and you have other Sasquatch that have the big conical heads like our great apes have, or like the elongated skull folks that you see in hieroglyphics in South America, or right. So you see some of that skull elongation indicating a greater brain capacity. What we think and what we've been told is that there is at least one Sasquatch nation that say that this was their place of origin, that they came from Earth. We also have Sasquatch that tell us that they travel outside of our solar system, and that you can find varying Sasquatch nations now on many worlds. And so, do we know all of what's going on? No, we don't. All we have is something to rely on what we have been told. And regardless of where the place of origin is, we do know that the interstellar Sasquatch come here to mentor or assist the developing nation Sasquatches, very similar to the way the Ponti come to help us and observe our cultural development as Earth humans from the stars. So, does that help?
Yeah, that's great. And there is that blessed lag, but I'm able to like suss out what you're saying from this. So I'm just gonna kind of reiterate for anybody that's not able to track as well. So we've got a range of Sasquatch that are, some are maybe not as evolved and some are more evolved. The ones with the more conical heads, indicating greater brain capacity, have a wider range of evolution in terms of their capacities and abilities, and the ones with the more rounded heads like us, imagine that the rounded head ones like us aren't as evolved. Note to take to yourself, right? But so there, and what my sense of it is that like the Sasquatch tribe nation, and from our little pre-show chat that we had the other day, is that they came here a long time ago, before humans looked the way they do currently, before our own point of evolution. And they really are sort of an intergalactic species, but their main core mission is really about whatever planet they're on. They're sort of the protectors of nature in that world. And so when we think of the Sasquatch nation and all their different tribes and their different levels of evolution, their core mission though is still to be guardians of the forest and of the planet. Is that true?
That's our understanding, absolutely. That they consider themselves stewards of our forests.
Well, of all of it, as far as it goes, it involves on the life on this planet. Takes into consideration all of the elements: fire, water, air, and so on. Right, and they have a handle on all those things.
So it's
we do see them taking care. Is that volume a little bit better? Can you hear us better now?
We can hear you better. It's just the blessed lag that we're just going to keep sending love to.
Because it switched to just a frozen. I'm putting all of us on the screen, just a fair warning to everyone, no picking of your noses. But
okay.
Otherwise we had a black screen, or a frozen screen.
Okay. How much of a lag is there? Okay. So we do see them actually taking physical action to change the niche within the forest by constructing things that help with erosion, and by helping move stones and boulders so that they actually are changing the landscape to stabilize it.
Especially the fire areas,
yes,
like in California, where these fires burned right up to local communities. They got flash flood problems, mudslide problems, and so on. And the Sasquatch nations are working on deviations from there to help preserve the landscape
and bring it back, right? So when we say that they are stewards of our forests, they work in our forests to try and help preserve them and keep them in a good way.
Okay, that is news. I did not know that. That's powerful. That they are okay. Yeah. I want to hop over, Miss Barbara Jean. What have you experienced in terms of their mission? Like in terms, again, here's the deal: is that we want to be very careful that we don't just, again, say the Sasquatch and we assign a certain trait to all of them, because just like any other nation, there's going to be levels, there's individuation, there's different interests. And we'll talk also about like the stories of Sasquatch when you have aggressive or violent encounters and what that is versus what we're hearing now, which is like, oh, these peaceful, loving nation. Well, how does that compare and contrast against situations when they are very aggressive? And oh my gosh, when you listen to those recordings of their vocalizing, it's like, it puts your hairs on end because there's so much power and energy coming out of them. But back to my original question, Miss Barbara Jean, what do you experience in terms of their mission and what have you learned?
Well, and that they are from all over the world. There's different clans from all over the world. And I love that when I heard that they meet just like we meet and talk and gather and then send their tribes back to stay in tune as one we gather. Their love for the forest is, you can't touch that. It goes without saying. It's been a tough road for them for a long time keeping it secure from us until we grow up and are able to really get that we are also useful. And so I'm really thankful that they haven't given up on us and that they are patient with us, and that now's the time for us to grow up and really take charge and be responsible for our beautiful, beautiful world that we have. And if we're just so lucky to have them that have been here since forever, from what I understand, that they have all that knowledge and wisdom to be sustainable. They've been doing it, okay? We're new at it for some reason. So I think what they bring to the table to teach us is pretty profound.
Amen.
Kat, one of the things, sorry. I was just going to mention something. One of the things that the Sasquatch told us is that, well, actually, the Ponte told us, the Sasquatch are at a more advanced civilization level than we are as Earth humans, even though you don't see their tech. That doesn't mean they don't have any. Also, the reason that they are more advanced than we are is that they provide food, water, and shelter for 100% of their population. We don't. We don't take care of our people. So we're not yet at advanced civilization level 0 or 1 if you go by Dr. Greer's scale.
Yeah.
But regardless, when people look at the Sasquatch, they think that they are lesser. No, not at all. They are more advanced. They have figured out how to take care of their world and their people at the same time.
Yeah.
We have some things to learn.
Oh, huge. And so one of the things I kind of broke up, you said they do have tech, but just because we don't see their tech doesn't mean they don't have tech. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
That was a yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And I think the other point to be made here is that, like, tech is only one indication of advancement. It's not the only indication of advancement. And you can be high tech and terrible. Like, I think we are really good at demonstrating how wonderful and creative we are, how much tech we have, and yet there's no heart connected to it. And if your heart is informing your choices as individuals and as a nation, then you're only going to invest in the tech that is still honoring the planet, connected to the planet. And if it doesn't, well, then you wouldn't use it. And like, let's talk about the spiritual advancement. Like, well, if you're spiritually advanced, how much tech do you need if you're able to walk between dimensions and you're telepathic? Like, all of the things that we do online, oh, I got to talk to Linda, I need to do this online. Oh, I can just be telepathic. Well, I don't need to do this. We can send images and pictures and thoughts and feelings telepathically. This becomes like extra. Like, why would you do that when you can just do it here?
Mm-hmm.
And the tech tends to fill in the gaps of the natural psychic extraordinary gifts we have, but we are asleep to. Would you ladies agree, and sir, agree with that?
Yeah, we would completely. The tech part of the Sasquatch nations, we've been told a couple of things and given a couple of analogies. You know, and I know that there are individuals in our culture that prefer to keep it simple and not use or own tech, like the Amish or the Quakers or the Shakers that choose to live without electricity and do things an old-fashioned way. The Sasquatch are like that. But that doesn't mean that if they know somebody like the Ponte, who have high tech, and say could give them a ride in one of their ships from point A to point B, would they borrow a ride and get from one place to another on one of the Ponte ships? Sure.
Yeah.
They would. So will they borrow that tech from somebody else or utilize somebody else's tech so that they can get around and do things? Sometimes they do. And we have dozens and dozens and dozens of Sasquatch researchers who talk to us about hearing strange mechanical sounds, seeing UFOs, wondering if they're catching Sasquatch, entering and leaving via some kind of tech. And so we've got lots of questions from researchers who get little tidbits of information about Sasquatch tech. Have you heard of any other, Barbara?
Well, mainly for me, communication. They did, I can only speak from experience, they used the radio for me to, and I still, that communicate.
Oh, really?
It's through the radio. And what's funny is that Garrett Duncan, a good friend of mine, I met him at the reunion, Sasquatch reunion this year. Well, but the year before I had met him, and I didn't know who he was. And he's standing there talking about how he met the Sasquatch was through, they sat in his passenger seat in the front of his car. Exactly what happened to him happened to me. And so that's the way they use that, that way of interdimensional contact with someone else. And for me, it helped because I thought, okay, Barbara, you're kind of losing it maybe a little bit here. You're seeing a Sasquatch in your front seat, maybe, you know, but that it happened with someone else that helped me have it more. And so I think their tech, yeah, it's there. It's how it all works, I have not a clue. I have no idea. But they're really the communication, you get it loud and clear, and it goes through the heart. It's right in the heart. It's not a mind communication. It's definitely a heart communication. And then you tap into all your feelings. So when you get a communication from them, it's like probably all sorts of different dimensions that I can't even count them. So I can only speak from experience. So
Linda,
tell me about them using your radio.
What? Say that again.
About how they used your radio.
Well, yeah, I was just.
How did they use your radio?
I was in my car driving, and he telepathed to me to turn on my radio, and on the radio was a father figure, and it played it's like fine art, right? It says 1,000 words in just a glance. And it's the same as the radio. When that song came on, for me at that time, it exploded my heart. And it's exactly what I needed. And so it started my relationship with them as a father figure for me, which I really needed at that time. And so see that each one is very individual relationship, just like as we're unique being as well. They're going to come in and communicate with me the best way that I can receive it. So it's very diversified, I would say. When I was with the reunion at Kelly Butterfly's reunion, Sasquatch reunion this year, they all showed up on the outside of our circle. And now no one could see them per se, but you feel their presence was just like so strong and so there for us that there was really no separation between us.
Wow. Miss Linda, hop in.
Yeah, I had a question more than anything, or a thought pattern that's coming up, that we have the people who tend to see them are either people who have been out, who are normally in nature and normally see them, but also we're having all kinds of technicals. Okay, but also I've noticed that a lot of people who are more intuitive, who in all appearances are working at a really high vibrational level, who also are able to see UFOs, are seeing them more often now than before. Are you guys hearing any of the same things? I mean, I have a friend who I haven't been given permission to say who she is, or that she actually took a photo of one. So yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but that's what she said. So anyway, I just feedback from you guys. Anyone else? Or
we know
Lag.
yeah, we know from the Ponte that the Sasquatch nations will allow themselves to be photographed more frequently in this year, approaching official first contact, than any of the other star nations. They agreed to be first, and I suspect that the Ponte will likely be second, or the Umo, one of the two.
I haven't heard any more about it till the pandemic's over.
Okay. But you're saying that your friend had a photograph. We do hear from researchers that they are catching the Sasquatch with their cameras when they don't see them with their eyes.
Mhm.
And we don't exactly know what or why. We also have been hearing from researchers more about the other unusual aspects of Sasquatch. And maybe Kat and Linda, we ought to talk about that telepathic aspect of them. Is that the telepathy part of it? Should we talk about that next?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think the telepathic part is huge. That I guess the thing I really want to give people the sense of, kind of the framework I'm really wanting to lay down initially here, is that different strokes for different folks, right? Like Barbara Jean's experience, like that was, I just love that it was initiated by Otter, and you two are the same show right now. I just love that. And that like Barbara Jean was like, there's a what now? And, you know, and then she then got to have that visceral experience because, I mean, you don't have to have a near-death experience to be more psychically open. It helps, but it's not required. You can learn it on your own. It's just waking up an old skill, right? It's waking up who we truly are. So Miss Barbara Jean has this experience, and the communication is telepathic right away. Now, somebody else, I think it's like, what is your mindset approaching, you know, these beings? Are you somebody who's, you know, poking and prodding because you want to get data and you want to get the physical, tangible evidence, and you're approaching them like a science experiment? Are you approaching them like objects, or are you approaching them from your heart and being like, hey, I just wanted to, you know, say that I don't know about you. I want to learn about you, but I want you to know that I'm coming to you from a place of respect. And it makes me think about, Sue has this story about Sasquatch and the chokeweed. And I think it's that's a great little story in terms of reaching out to them telepathically and not having any expectations, and being able to have a conversation with them on their terms. You're not demanding anything. You're just showing up and saying, hey, I'm here, just saying hello. We're coming at you from respect, and you're not demanding a response. You're just being available to response. Would you like to share that story, Sue, with people who may have not heard it before?
I can. We call this the Sasquatch chokeweed story. You can go ahead.
I was gonna say, should we put a link down below so people can hear the story from our friend Kevin Estrella? Would that be better? We'll put the story down below. That's what we'll do, is we'll add the link down below. It's not there at the moment, but it will be. But Sue's, you know, approach is, let me reach out to you. I'm going to connect with you, but I'm not going to, it's not like a need, I have to connect. It's very respectful. And I think that is the difference in how you approach. Wouldn't you agree, Sue?
I do. We treat Sasquatch or any star nation like they're people, like they're our next door neighbors, because they're our neighbors. And so to be neighborly, sorry, Otter's having a bit of a coughing fit. To be neighborly, one of the things that we say when we teach about telepathic, reaching out proactively to any nation, Sasquatch, Star Nation, is one, don't expect a response. If you get one, that's wonderful, but don't expect it. No one of them is required to respond to any query that you have. But the friendlier you are, the less threatening you are, the more right-minded you are, the greater your chance of a response. When we teach interaction like this also, one of the things that we say is don't be the first person to leave the conversation. Do what you can, if you get a response, to keep a conversation going. And if they respond to you, ask another question or make another comment that encourages them to talk to you once more. So be the last person to leave any conversation that's telepathic, unless somebody says, I have to go now, bye, which might be different. But that's how the chokeweed story kind of started. We had been at a conference in Estes Park and learned that the people, the attendees at the conference, had learned that the Sasquatch was telepathic. We'd already known that from our Ponte friends. And so after a presentation by Kuwani Lapsaritis, I went out on our balcony and just apologized for humanity to the Sasquatch. I wanted to let the Sasquatch know that there were a whole bunch of us Earth humans who had just learned that they were telepathic, and if they heard anything too loud or inappropriate, that I apologized for them, that they were trying. And I did not expect a response. But when I got one, then I did whatever I could to further a conversation, just as if I was speaking with my next door neighbor or one of my girlfriends. And that's how it started. So there is, as Kat mentioned, there is a YouTube channel called Close Encounters of the Pontel Kind. And the third episode, I believe, of that series is the chokeweed story. If you're interested in.
Yep, we lost you there for a moment. Hopefully you'll pop back in. We'll put that link below, but if you literally Google chokeweed and Sue Walker, it will probably come up. I want to be able to there's so much to go into.
Of their population. We don't take care of our people. Look at the Sasquatch. They think that they are lesser? No, not at all.
Yeah, and we just had a conversation about that our last show that Linda and I and a couple of and Jillian actually, our engagement gal and my niece, we talked about how governments have,
regardless, when people how to take care of their world and their people at the same time. Look at the Sasquatch. They think that they are lesser. We have some things to learn.
Absolutely. We have no idea how to take care of each other as a whole, as a collective. And that's our big humble pie. That is our big point of awakening, I feel like, in this transition that we are moving into. And I also wanted to say, if you're
figured out how to take care of their world and
oh dear God, please
their people at the same time.
Please heal this connection. Please heal this connection so we can hear Sue and Otter. Yeah.
I'm almost wondering if you should go out and try and come back in, if that might.
I don't know.
Better connection.
Do you want to hop out of the conversation, like close your Zoom and then rejoin us, Sue, and see if that will help clear the connection? I don't know if she can even hear us.
Yeah, it's freezing our screens as well.
Okay, she heard us. Okay.
Let's try it and see.
Whew. Wow. It's like, this is such an important conversation. The information is so rich, and I just really want people to feel like they can be part of the conversation. Sue has a telepathic primer that she channeled from the Ponte. I think it was Teeny was the specific Ponte that worked with her on that. So if you are curious and you want to learn how to become telepathic, it's literally like a 30-minute read. It is a 30-minute read. It's a daily practice, but it's a 30-minute read. And I would really encourage people to reach out to the official First Contact website, which is below in the description, and see if you can encounter, see if that's something that you'd want to experience, and just give it a read. Again, it's like 30 minutes to read. I wanted to shift into, and we'll wait for, hopefully Sue will rejoin us. I would like to shift into, everyone just sent her the best energy, her and Otter, send them the best energy. I wanted to talk about the dogmen and the kind of the beings that the Sasquatch hang out with, because there's a whole world of like mythological creatures that in our psyche is mythological, right? But I think humanity's understanding is so stunted. I mean, look at our psychic abilities, look at our telepathic abilities. So much of how we understand what exists in the world, how the universe works, it's so stunted, and it's stunted everywhere. And it's stunted, I would say, on purpose, with an agenda to keep us in a lower vibrating connection and understanding of the world, of the universe. Miss Barbara Jean, would you step in and let us know what you know about Sasquatch and like the dogmen?
I know very little, actually.
Okay, that's okay.
But I have a friend, and I can't remember her name. Is that terrible? But and we talked about this, and that she had an experience. She moved to a small house in the woods, backed up to the woods, and she walked in and she saw her first Sasquatch, her and her two daughters, and it scared her the first time, because here's this big, huge being, and she actually sees him. That's her first encounter, is she actually physically sees him. And so she takes her two daughters and she says to herself, just run, just quietly turn around and just run, because she didn't know anything about them. And so that's what she did. Well, later she developed a relationship with them. And with that, through that, she had the dogmen show up at her house, right at her house. She could see them through the window. She actually has some footage of that. I'll try and maybe connect the two of you so you can have her on a show and talk about all of her experiences. But she said that their energy from the Sasquatch is very different. It's very high, it's very pact oriented, it's strong, really strong. And I know when I first heard my on the sounds of the Sasquatch, like what you show, your body just kind of, mine did, it just kind of went, whoa, that's like not us. It's kind of like, that is huge and big and different. And so it takes the body, you might get it spiritually and mentally, but it takes the body a little bit of time to acclimate to that and still feel safe. So it does take some time. And that's what happened with her, with the dogmen, that it took some time with them to build a relationship. And at first they just came to her and she just, was afraid. And then after a little bit of time, or a lot of time, then she started having a relationship with them. So it was give and take. And I think when you start with the relationship with the Sasquatch as well, it's it takes a little bit of time, like any relationship where you get to know each other. And I loved what Sue said, that it's on their terms. It's on their terms, and to keep the conversation going. I think that's important too. And I'm going a little bit off subject, but we get really busy. And I remember when Kelly Butterfly said lapsaritis, she said to me once in a talk, she said, well, Barbara, you know, when you go into nature, you automatically go into the fifth dimension just by going into nature. And I never heard that before, but ever since she said that, it rang so true to me. And that's why it's really important for us to go into nature and develop that relationship with nature. And how that all comes around to Dogman is, there's so much we need to know and so much to learn and so little time. But if we show up, things start to happen.
Yeah, again, it's how we approach it, right? It's our availability. And I want to talk about the Dogman for a minute simply. And so if you aren't familiar with the Dogman, and correct me on this, Barbara Jean, because this is my experience, because I've done some, modest research on this, but like they have the head of a dog, but the body of a human, which sounds crazy, right? But things happen. Reality is not what we think it is. So they've got the head of a dog, little ears like this, but they've got the body of a human, and they are, they don't speak, like they can't speak English. Like when you hear the Sasquatch talking, their vocal range can go within our vocal range, and then it goes up and it goes down, like outside of the human vocal range. But the Dogmen don't have that because they have bark, right? What would your expansion be on that, Barbara Jean?
I can only talk from my friend, what I learned from her. Mm-hmm. And it was definitely telepathic, a strong telepath. And if I remember right, she said it came really fast, and she had to kind of ask him to slow it down a little because it came too fast, too strong. It would kind of pop her out of her body just by their presence, with the boom, where you would hitting that. And so, and then after a while, she started to learn to have a relationship with them. I've never experienced the Dogman. I'd like to, but I've never asked or even went down that road at all. I've just feel really blessed to have a Sasquatch experience and to work with them. But now that you're talking about it, maybe I will, maybe it's up. And for all the listeners as well, right? So, yeah.
Well, that's how consciousness works. That's why we're just blessed idiots, in terms of understanding how these things work. When you start to think of something, it's psychic, and that being already has psychic abilities, that being already has like, what's the word? Accruent. They have the psychic capacity already established. They're back. And once you start thinking of them, they can start thinking of you. It's like you've pinged them. You didn't realize you were pinging them. And they're like, oh, someone's thinking about me, whether that being has good energy, bad energy, whether they're kind or not so kind. You are basically knocking on their door when you start thinking of them, unless you know how to navigate your own consciousness and your own psychic impulses that you're putting out. Would you agree with that, Barbara Jean?
Yeah. It's like that. It's an internet connection, but it's also a cosmic connection, all those webs, and where thought goes, energy flows. And so you put that out there and you're going to connect.
Exactly, whether you mean to or not. So if you're thinking about a being who's nefarious and has bad intention, you're basically saying, hey, I'm thinking about you. And like, do you want to do that? Is that what you want to focus in on? Let's check and see how our connection is with Miss Sue. Hey, Sue, how are you doing? Can you speak to us at this moment? Can we hear you?
Let's see if we're doing any better. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Okay, just a minute.
It's just very much like chopped up with the lag, unfortunately. What
I'm thinking, Sue, maybe take off your microphone and just use your computer sound and see if that works.
That's what I just did.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's what I did. We were having problems downloading Zoom to use, so it's going through the browser, which I think is why the lag.
Okay. Well, I have an idea. Next week, we were actually going to hang out with Susie Hansen, who is an amazing ET experiencer and teacher. She cannot make it. She's got other things that have family stuff that's come up. Would we want to do a part 2 next Saturday and kind of figure out, we can do a run again on this with Sue, kind of figure out where the tech issues are coming from, but do a part 2 next Saturday. Would everybody be down for that?
I think that's a good idea. I think that this is difficult to hear.
Does it sounds good to you, Sue?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes. Our apologies for the problems.
No, it's sometimes these things happen and they're just meant to be, and we can shake our fist all we want until we realize, oh, this is why it happened. So that's what I'm going to take this as. So and
let's bring Jillian in and see if anybody has.
Oh, okay, great,
Jillian?
thank you. That's a great thing, Miss Jillian. If you do want to hop in, and we can try to capture any questions we had from this. And then we'll put a bookmark. This is going to be chapter 1. We'll have chapter 2 next week. And in the meantime, there will be links below for everyone to go investigate. And we were talking about the dogmen, Sue, and I really want to get into like the dogmen and the other beings that hang out with Sasquatch that in our mythology, we'd be like, oh, what? It's like, well, there's a rabbit hole. If you keep going down, you're going to find more tunnels in the rabbit hole. And to just dismiss it out of hand everyone has got to, if it's too much, that's where you need to stop and don't go any further, but don't just dismiss it out of hand, because that's what human arrogance does. We'll give Jillian another minute here to hop in. And if she doesn't hop in, then we'll
coming in right now.
Okay. Hey, lady. Welcome to the party.
Thank you.
I saw some interesting comments come through with experiences.
Yeah, there was one, Dorothy, she made a comment. It wasn't a question, but she had said that she tried to telepathically contact the Sasquatch in the Beartooth Mountains. She thinks one asked for a watermelon, and she wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
Connections back with Sue.
And she said she didn't know where to leave it. Like, that was the rest of her comment. I think when those situations come up, like when you actually get a response, sometimes you just don't know what to do with it.
Agreed. Watermelon is a gift that we recommend, actually, if you're looking for something to gift the Sasquatch. You're looking for something that's going to keep all right for them, because they don't have refrigeration storage, and is more than a mouthful, like a handful of peanuts or a trail mix bar, and a good sized watermelon is enough of a snack for them that they appreciate it. And if they're not going to eat it right then, it'll keep.
If they can keep the kids out of it.
Squashes are the same way. Pumpkins, acorn squash, Hubbard squash, anything with a hard rind is okay. Also, if you're generous, you could gift a whole ham. Again, something substantial that keeps.
A whole can of what?
Ideas.
A whole ham.
A whole ham.
Organic.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So there.
Biscuit. I thought it's still doing its live thing.
We'll fix our problems and we'll fix these problems and figure out what's going on. And let's do part 2 or chapter 2 next Saturday and have it go a lot smoother than this. I have no idea what the issue is exactly, but we got a week to figure it out. We apologize. None of us knew that this was going to happen today.
That bar on the side of your computer
Yes.
could be that.
All right. Let me try one more thing and see if we fix our lag.
Okay. Aw.
Can you hear me now?
We have someone that's saying Otter and Sue, you guys are awesome.
Otter what?
Same lag?
Otter and Sue, you guys are awesome.
Okay, good. That's good.
Thank you. Same lag.
Yeah.
And someone who says they started interacting with them about 6 years old. I don't know if you had a chance, Jillian, to expand on that with them.
I didn't know. I must have missed that one. I saw a couple of comments that people were mentioning that they were thinking that they were in contact with the Sasquatch, but I didn't see that one.
Okay.
So Karen, you have to come back on next weekend and
Yeah. I think it's best to just collect those comments and note those, and we can address them next week, because it's just too much work.
yeah, the technical problems are really frustrating.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it will tease us, and it looks like all of a sudden the connection's fine, and then it will lag again, and it's just like, oh, make some really guttural, like Sasquatch sounds about that one. But you know what? This is a great though, because people can watch us. They can give us their questions or give us their comments below, and then we can gather those up and bring them in for part 2 next week. And Miss Barbara Jean, you're cool to join again, right? Okay.
My pleasure. It's an honor to be with all of you. Especially with Otter. I mean, geez,
We'll try this again.
Okay.
We apologize.
We'll get it sorted out. All right, ladies and gents. We will let it wrap up there, and I'm going to get to the right screen so I can successfully end the stream. But let's see here. Here we go. So thank you, everyone. As always, please subscribe and please hit the notification bell, so that way when this stuff happens, if a surprise show pops up, you'll know about it and you can join in. Thank you, Reverend Otter. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Barbara Jean. Thank you, lovely Linda. Thank you, wonderful Jillian. And we'll go ahead and end here. Bless everyone, and thank you. We love you. We'll see you next time.